Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection, alongside in the co-captain's chairs, as always, Mr. Simon Bray and Mr. Steven Reid, the members of the UK in this configuration. What's happening, gentlemen? How are you?
Wet.
Yes, all good.
As I heard, it's a little raining down over there in Lancashire, huh?
Lancashire was wet about, well, usually whenever I walk out with the dog, that's usually when it gets wet. Yeah. So I've just come back from that. So, yeah. Yep.
Chilly here, but it is Scotland, so we're kind of known for it.
No rain here today, not yet anyway. But it is warm in New York in the Hudson Valley. Way warmer than it should be at this time of year, but that's the way the weather is lately, right? What can you do? I'll tell you what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about some bands we don't like, bands we can't stand, bands we think suck, however you want to say it. This is the negative episode that we do every so often that people will flock to, that we'll have a pretty good time with, but we'll forget tomorrow morning all about it. We'll move on to other things. But, you know, that's kind of the way it goes. But before we start talking about some bands of suckage, we got to talk about beer. Simon, I bet you got a great beer today.
Well, seeing as that is the theme, your favorite beer, isn't it?
Yes.
Not very good at the mystique, Simon, are you?
But I'm just saying, it's because, like, I didn't ask in the chat, and I have got the world's greatest beer. One of my very, very favorite beers. It's Titanic Plum Porter. Nom 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 nom. If this was an album, it would be called Pronounced Plum Porter. Do you see what I did there? Because you've met me. There you go.
I don't
There
think
you
Steven
go.
has caught on yet. Okay, there we go.
I think he has. He's got that kind of look on it. So this
Hint,
is
hint, Southern Rock. Hint, hint. Debut
I'm
album.
not that kind of dense. No, I am. Yes, okay.
finished. Excellent. Okay, so actually on draft, it's just absolutely orgasmic. It's really, really no. And did you know, kids? Did you know that you can get it for £2.35 in Booths or £1.95 in Sainsbury's? So yeah, I got it in Sainsbury's. Yeah,
In
there you
Boots?
go.
You say boots?
Booths.
Boots. Okay, we don't have that yet.
The northern grocers. Yes.
I see. By north, you mean not north.
Yes, Peter.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's good.
Supermarkets.
So by boot, no, we don't have booths up here. We've got boots though, but that, you wouldn't get that in boots.
But what's the chemise, as I like to call them?
What, man? Right, okay.
Yes, indeed. So,
But we'll let Pete back in now.
we can, and that is one seriously beautiful drink. It actually is plummy, yet portery. It does what it says on the bottle.
Oh, it's not just the name. There's like some plum essence in there or something.
Plums. Yes.
You guys are killing me today. We just started.
Oh, it's going to be one of these. Okay. Right, well, the idea was to bring an old favourite. I brought a new favourite. It is from the Abernite Brewery, which I have spoken about loads and loads and loads on the show. They're local to me, my favourite local. This is their 80 shilling, which is quite new to them. I've had it once before. It's absolutely fabulous. Here we go in my Abernite Brewery glass. I just know it's phenomenal because I had one this other week. I love it. It's great stuff.
It's kind of like Steven. I did the same thing. I picked a new favorite.
So good. So good. Love it.
So I got my Guinness glass, but I'm not drinking a Guinness. I'm drinking a Rogue Chocolate Stout Nitro from the Rogue Brewing Company in, where the hell are they? I don't remember. I'm sure it says it on here, but I'm not going to spend 5 hours trying to figure it out. Anyway, and it says here it's great with aged cheddar, pot roast, and vanilla ice cream. It actually is very Guinness-like, but with a little bit more chocolate kind of sweetness or some chocolate sweetness.
And it's great with ice cream.
I don't know. I've never had it with ice cream, Simon, but you know what?
That would be,
imagine it would be. Vanilla ice cream, I could see that. And it is 5.8 ABV.
Simon, you look vaguely disgusted by that idea.
I feel like I'm repulsed by just the very thought of
No,
beer
no.
and
What
ice
Pete's
cream.
drinking strikes me as being smooth and creamy, and ice cream is, by
Yep.
definition, smooth and creamy if it's good. I think it makes sense. To quote our friend from in the proxy, Chad, I can understand the mouthfeel of both of them being roughly the same.
Yeah. And it's
I mean,
very it's
I'm not
funny
going
when
to
you
test
when
it.
you first sip it, it's very much like a regular Guinness draft, but then like the what do they call it? The finish is very
Mhm.
chocolatey and like dark chocolate, not like sweet chocolate, dark chocolate. Very good. It's not overly sweet at all. It's very nice.
Looks good.
Hmm. And it's light enough, it's not too heavy. I mean, some of these like chocolate stouts are like, imperial stouts are like 10, 11%. This is like you drink half of one already, you're like ready for a nap. But yeah, no, this is good. It's very drinkable. Good. Probably, it's funny because like I knew I purposefully had one left of these when we talked a couple weeks ago about bringing out a special beer for this episode. And I'm at the end of my stout run because the weather's getting warmer and I don't really drink stouts in the warmer weather. But I took this last one of the 4-pack and I put it all the way in the back of the fridge to make sure that I didn't drink it, that it was saved for today. And then when I opened it up a little while ago, there it was, ready and waiting for me, perfect. So now I can move on to my pillow.
Someone has just commented that they don't give a fuck about that.
I know. They really don't. They really don't. They're like, will you guys get on with it already and talk about the fucking bands and albums and enough of this damn beer? It's like,
Yeah, see, they want us to move on so they can then complain about the bands we've chosen for this.
well, of course, right? So if you hate today's bands, then you have nothing of worth in this episode today. There you go. Hopefully you have some laughs today because we're gonna have fun with this today. So
Yeah.
I haven't had fun listening.
But you've listened to some of this stuff.
wow.
Are you
Yeah.
mad?
Yeah.
My bands you don't like and you've gone and started listening to them.
Go. Look, I'm the only one that's brought show and tell. I'm the one that's
No,
actually
no, no,
made
no,
the
no, no,
effort.
no, no, no. I brought show and tell.
Oh, you said you hadn't earlier.
No, I said not for everything.
Okay.
I have no physical product. I will be doing a Prezi thing for mine. So yeah, so I'm guilty today.
Yay, Prezi. Yeah.
Prezi, yes, switch them around. But see, I purposely did not wear a shirt with anything on it today. So when I do the Prezi, no one can complain that Pete, you look so weird when the shirt is backwards and I can't read the name of the band. Wow, wow, wow. So today you don't have to worry about it. All you're going to see is my background.
What's that band Pete Pardo that he's got on his t-shirt there?
Exactly. Now nobody can complain about that. So anyway, Simon, the first
Yes.
band you can't stand. We're dying to know.
But they actually are all bands. Yes, they are. I don't. Oh, shall I do it in order of well-knownness or just general I don't like themness?
Oh, hurry up, because somebody will complain. Simon, come
I
on.
know. I don't like, and I really can't stand the Rolling Stones. I fucking hate them. Really, just no, just nothing. But see,
He's
I got
gone
the
already.
I got the 60, 40, 71, and I thought, do you know, I'll inflict some more pain on myself because I mean, this really didn't cost very much. But it turns out I don't like any era. Yes, Stephen. Yes. What?
I'm going to get this out of the way now. I'm just going to ask that question now. Okay.
Yeah.
Show and tell. Okay,
Yeah.
you asked us all to bring show and tell if we could.
Yeah.
But you told us to. I can't for everything because I can't. You got two big compilations there of a band that you can't stand. I don't understand this as a concept.
Well, this one's got the later stuff on, so you can't because for a band that's been going 60 years, you've really got to find out your loathing quantity, haven't you? Really? So yeah.
On that rationale, you need to buy an album by everybody in the world ever.
This is true. This is true. And Mrs. Simon actually thinks I have.
Okay, I can relate to that. Fair enough.
I will say those two compilations you have are both great. They really are.
Right, because they hurt my ears.
I mean, maybe he doesn't think so, obviously, but I'm just telling you, they are really great.
I must admit, I don't hate them. I'm more on Simon's side here.
Really? How is it that two guys from the UK don't like the Rolling Stones? I don't understand that.
I can't stand the voice, which I think is going to become a recurring thing. Genuinely can't stand the voice. Can't bear to watch them. Really, Tina Turner, well, kind of is rolling in a great. Yeah, I really went down the wrong road there, didn't I? I just, you know, and they are one of those bands that you think that you should like. All these bands, I think I should like.
Yes, that was important to me. Yeah.
I feel like I've made the effort. I should like them. I don't, you know, what don't they call Keith Richards the human riff machine or something like the human riff? Well, just no, he's no KK Downing, is he? Let's be honest. Yes. Oh, hate mail to Simon Bray.
Different.
I don't, I don't. If I wanted to listen to somebody singing in a vaguely Londony American accent, I'd listen to Elton John. You know what I mean? So I do. So I make that choice. So I'm fully aware that all these choices are actually quite hypocritical. I don't like his voice. He sounds like he's trying to be something he's not. And Elton John sings like he's an American, doesn't he? And I love him. So I'm aware of my own. I want to say hypocritiality, but that's a word I've just made up, isn't it? That's a neologism, isn't it? So yeah, there's just not really nothing. It's not fair to say I hate everything. I don't mind starting me up. That's okay. And I do somewhere. Well, when I had iTunes, I did have a copy of Exile on Main Street that I quite liked. But now that I don't have access to those MP3s on an easy to get,
I would think you would love that album.
Yeah, so yeah, quite like it. It's better than Hate, isn't it? So yeah. I just can't get my act together with the Stones, and I have tried. I've genuinely tried. And on the Christmas show, when I said I was trying with Van Halen and it didn't work, and somebody said, "Well, you've got no credibility there, have you?" We, as a certain American from Poughkeepsie regularly says, we all hear things different, and we can't like everything, can we? We can't. We can try, but can't. And I've never been able to get my act together with the Rolling Stones.
We do two each.
Two each, I can do that. I also don't like the Who.
One.
I know.
I was just literally 10 seconds ago, I was going to ask Simon. It's like, well, but you certainly like the Who, right? And now he answered my question without me even
don't like the Who. Don't really like any aspect of the Who. I appreciate that they are phenomenal musicians. John Entwistle was really, really good. He wasn't he? He was really good. And again, I quite like some Who, quite like, quite like. But I really don't like any of the 60s stuff. Really, really don't like that. I like the only Who song that I've ever played on any form of rotation, I think is Crap Who, and that's You Better You Bet. I quite like that one. But one of the things I don't like the Who is Roger Daltrey's singing, but I like quite a bit of Roger Daltrey's solo material.
See, I think
covers.
No, see, I think the McVicker album.
Yeah,
well, that's a good album. Yeah, that's a good album. Most of his other albums are all covers.
I think that's the best thing he ever sang on. I must admit that when I listen to Daltrey, especially when he's way up here somewhere, I can take or leave it, especially live.
Yeah. So, they just do nothing for me. But I did investigate them. I have tried. Whereas there are bands that I think I should like, and I've never really investigated, like say the Kinks or something like that. I've never actually moved to buy anything, but I might do. Now that CDs are about 8p in every charity shop these days. But thus far I haven't, and that's not because I don't like them or what I've heard. It's just that there's only so much time in your life, isn't there?
That is very true.
So I can't be doing with the Who, and in particular the Rolling Stones. So. Oops.
Right now, I'm like, Simon, please go listen to Tommy, go listen to Quadrophenia and Who's Next, please, and come back to me in like a month.
Simon, Pete's going to do these things, I think, with most of the choices.
I feel like the day we did the In the Privacy show and George Lemay.
Don't panic. I'm lining Pete up. Don't worry about it. Got him in my sights.
Yeah, I've got because Pete's doing that. It's not that you don't like them; it's that you don't understand them. Like that's not what.
I bet he sat there. I bet he sat there and his legs are like that far apart while his mansplaining to me how wrong I am.
I feel like, Steven, I feel like that episode of In the Proxy where George LeMay was like putting down Crime of the Century and In the Court of the Crimson King, boom, one after another. I'm like, oh, Simon's ripping my heart out right now.
Yes,
I
he's
never
a terror.
expected a Brit to tell me they don't like the Rolling Stones or the Who. I'm like, gee, so I have to ask. Maybe it's coming. Do you not like the Beatles either?
Did I not? I feel like I chose Sergeant Pepper as one of the things that I'd heard for the first time and liked for the Christmas before last. So yeah, actually, without preempting this year's Christmas thing, I've picked up a couple of Paul McCartney albums recently, very cheaply. Neither of which I can remember the name of, but one's really good from about 10 years ago. One from about 20 years ago is absolute dog shit. The good one's got an orange cover on the yes, and the other one,
It's an up and down catalogue.
yeah.
It is.
So
Yeah, I'm staring at it. It's sitting right in front of me. I got them all sitting here. There is.
so
It is down. Yeah.
the Beatles, certainly, if you grew up in the 70s, even though they'd split up, were completely ubiquitous. The Beatles cartoon was on all the time in the mornings when I was little. So even by osmosis, you're going to either loathe them or get to this point where you think, yeah, don't mind them, but I'm not going to go out and buy them.
Already.
So there's no hatred for me for the Beatles, none whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Well, we're off to a banger of a start. Steven.
Well, I find this quite difficult, because unlike Simon, I don't go out and make an effort to buy albums by bands that I don't like. So I kind of set myself rules. Now, I mean, Simon asked us to bring show and tell. I have for a couple because I could, because I bought albums with him a long time ago, and I tend not to part with vinyl. CDs, different story. So I made my own rule just for me, just so I kind of had a boundary. And my rule was that all of the 5 bands that I've chosen have to have had a show on ranking the albums on Sea of Tranquility's YouTube channel. That was the rule that I gave myself to work with him, because I thought, there's lots of stuff I really don't like that people know about and then in the comments about, like the Smiths, for example. I know the Doors are within the paradigm, but everyone knows that that doesn't work. So these are acts that have been covered in the album rankings that I just don't get. I don't necessarily hate them all, but I don't necessarily need to hear them ever again either. So for sure, I've started with the ones I've got for show and tell just to keep Simon happy. Okay, so I'll start with Robert Plant, solo in particular. I don't love Zeppelin from start to finish. I really don't like the debut album. I like the rest of it. Some of it's brilliant. Some of it I can take or leave to some extent, but there you go. But Robert Plant solo, I mean, I respect it. See, and these are platitudes now. I respect his solo catalogue because he started being daring and different, desperate to leave Zeppelin behind and go do something else. And that's good. I like that. It doesn't mean to say that I need to hear it, though. I don't need to hear somebody trying out different things and giving something else a go and not really doing it brilliantly, in my humble opinion. I mean, there are good things in there. I really like, is it 29 Palms from Fate of Nations? That's a great song. That's a lovely song. It's such a good song. Great vocal. Quite like Big Log. And but in general, hey, it's just such a workmanlike catalogue for such a talented guy with such a history. It's all a bit just like. And then in recent times, he's done. This is a dangerous word. He's done albums that have been worthy. That's worse. I think doing worthy stuff is worse because I don't really need to hear all this authentic old kind of stuff. And it's called boring. It's what it's called. I mean, he does it really well. He does boring pretty well. And I just don't connect with any of it. And it all gets lauded and everyone loves it. And it gets like 6 out of 5 in album rankings. And it's the best thing you've ever heard. And you put it on, you kind of go, yeah. Don't need to hear that ever again. It's just.
Yeah.
Mark Popoff's ears are ringing right now.
Yes, I did think about that when I picked Robert Plant. I knew that he would be in complete agreement with me on this. or not, as the case may be. Those are the only two that I have. I have had Now and Zen and Fate of Nations on cassette back in the days when I used to record every album that all my friends bought, as well as buy all the ones that I would buy myself. And I don't have them now because I haven't kept any of those cassettes, but I don't feel the need to go out and buy them either because it's stuff that's okay. I just wouldn't listen to it. I just would never ever think today's a Robert Plant solo day. It's just not going to happen. So that's my first one. Okay. My second one is Last Show and Tell. Here we go.
You guys are killing me today.
He was on my list.
God.
So yeah, I don't get Hendrix at all. I mean, and same again, I acknowledge the brilliance, the innovation, the influence, the importance. I don't need to hear it though. And I like certain things, one or two. I like his version of All Along the Watchtower. I mean, it's not his song, but there you go. I prefer it when Neil Young plays it live, to be fair, but I can listen to Hendrix do it. And I really like, I like Crosstown Traffic, okay? And I'm kind of in and out at that. I really dislike Purple Haze, never liked it. Manic Depression, just aptly named. When Cries Mary, these songs do nothing for me at all. I don't connect with the guitar style. I really, and I know that the story goes that Hendrix heard Dylan and thought, well, if he can sing, I can sing. No, Dylan can't sing. So therefore, neither could Jimi Hendrix. And I know that people love it, and I know that's going to be absolute sacrilege for some, but I just hear him singing, and I just don't get it at all. And I mean, I know he was groundbreaking. He was out there doing stuff as a showman and as a musician and as a songwriter that had never been seen and never been heard. I get all that. I respect it. And without it, music would be completely different. I don't need to hear it though. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It's completely it feels like a jumble to me. There's no order to it. I just don't like it very much at all.
Alrighty. You ever listen to any of his live stuff?
See, and here's the thing. You know, Pete, that I'm not the biggest fan of meandering live stuff.
Yeah, true. So yeah, this is not.
So
Yeah,
even
this
like
guy's not for
the
you.
West one, like by Zeppelin, everyone goes, "It's the best thing that was ever released by." Bores me to tears. I'm going to just play the songs. Do you know? I'm not a fan of that. So, but I think an important thing to mention at that point too is I mean, I used to play the drums many moons ago. I'm not a guitarist. And I think a lot of these artists mean much more if you can kind of go, wow, that was amazing because he did this and he did that and I can't and he did. And all. I just listen to it and go, yeah, but they're not great songs, are they? Or they're not to me anyway.
I get it. I get it. I mean, yeah, you can't like everything. And yeah, it's just not every day that I, come across someone who just doesn't get Hendrix at all. But hey, whatever. It's
And do you know what? I never have. When I used to play in bands and things, we used to cover these songs because people in the band loved it. Let's do some Hendrix. And I'm just go, yeah, okay, why not? We're having fun. It's all good. I like playing anything because it's music. But when I take it home and listen to it other than to learn it, oh, not a chance. Not a chance.
all right. Wow, Stones, Hendrix, who? We're off to the races today, man. Holy cow. All right. Just bear with me, everybody. I'm going to load up all my 5 here. And all right. So it was like Steven said, this was difficult for me as well because I just gave one of them away. Okay, I'll skip ahead to this one. That's fine. Because I don't want to hide behind this. Hold on. Because I've talked about a lot of bands in previous episodes here that I didn't want to repeat a lot of bands. So I've got a couple new ones. This one right here that I've never talked about before or slagged before. I've got one that I've done a bit in the past, but I wanted to do it again today. And I've got one band that's sort of SOT worthy, but not. But I know a lot of people love them, and I don't think I've ever slagged them on screen before. So this particular band here is a band from Finland. So I wish I didn't pick this one first, but that's okay. The image just popped up here. I was trying to load them all up here. But anyway, this is a band from Finland called Sonata Arctica. Okay, so they are I guess, symphonic power metal band. I got nothing against bands from Finland because I like quite a bit of bands from Finland, but I don't really like happy Finnish power metal. And I find that this is one of those bands, and again, I owned a bunch of their albums. I saw them live. Uh, I like Nightwish because I think Nightwish is a little more cinematic. This stuff is kind of serious, and they don't really do this happy thing. But I don't want these guys seem to be always happy and always uppity, and they release a lot of albums, and it's like they're trying to force their stuff on you, and it just doesn't really work for me. I think Tony the singer's got a really good voice, but I find his delivery is just kind of the same all the time. It's very melodic though, which is good. I like keyboards a lot, but in power metal, a little bit too much keyboards, not enough crunchy guitar tends to wear on me after a while. I think Unia was probably their best album. I was kind of on board there. But Days of Grays, Stones Grower Name, I found the music becoming kind of bland. They came back with Pariah's Child, which, I mean, these guys have great album covers too. So like I was always like, oh, look at that album cover. Right, got wolves on it. It's a big fantasy scene, like a great big fantasy epic book, and I'm all for that sort of thing. And then I'd go out and I'd get the album, or Nuclear Blast or Napalm or whatever label they were on at the time would send me the record. I'd be like, oh great, I put it on. I'd be like, it's more of this kind of like, and I'm just kind of like, it's just after a while, I'm like, yeah, I mean, the Ninth Hour and all the albums after that just sound so generic to me. And I always wanted this band to be heavier and a little bit more complex musically. And they went through a period where a lot of this stuff was very, very kind of like run of the mill, just very generic sounding. And it really changed my opinion of the whole catalog. And I was kind of like, I sat and I looked at it. I'm like, you know what? For a band I've been kind of following for a while, I really don't like any of these albums, maybe other than like one or two. And even though there's bits and pieces of their music along the way that actually is my sort of thing. Like I always found when they got a little heavier, a little more progressive, I was kind of like, all right, I like this because I don't dislike the singer. It's all very melodic, but it just like after a while, like you got all these out because they have a lot of albums. All these albums, I'm like, all right, so what? I really kind of dig one, two of them. It's like, do I really need any of this? Do I really need to bother with this band anymore? See them live? And I'm like, goodbye, out the window. There goes whatever part of the catalog I had is gone. So yeah, Sonata Arctica, and a lot of lineup changes too. I felt this band was like always in like upheaval about something, which is really strange. So yeah, never really just fully engaged with them at all. So that's my first choice.
Can I ask a question, Pete?
Yes.
And I don't know if you know the answer off the top of your head. Do they have a keyboard player? As in, are one of those 5 people there a keyboard player? I'm aware of them. I've heard bits and bobs. I don't know them well.
Yeah, and he likes to play the guitar, so he's like on stage. He's always out front with that kind of thing. So it's like it's a lot of showy stuff,
The reason I ask is because one of my pet hates in the kind of happy power metal genre is when basically all the songs are just with a keyboard, and then you look through the band members and there isn't a keyboard player.
Yeah, no, this band had. I agree with you 100%.
Not quite a bad thing.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. And you're always like looking, and it's, especially like if you're going to review these things, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm like trying to do a review on the channel. And I'm like, and there's tons of keyboards on here, but I don't know who the fuck's playing them because they don't list anything. I'm like,
I love the fact that nobody in the band's willing to own up to the fact that was them.
Yeah, so it's very, very strange. So yeah, so let me pop that one out. And we'll go back in. Oh, geez, it's so annoying. But yeah, so that's my first one. And my second one is going to also be from Finland. And kind of like I don't really like my happy Finnish power metal. I also don't really like happy Finnish folk metal. And I find Korpiklani like totally useless. I can appreciate their musicianship. I don't have an issue with folk instruments in heavy metal or rock music at all. Because I like, I love flute. I like acoustic guitars. I like all that kind of stuff. But man, I remember when this band first hit the scene, I went out and got Spirit of the Forest and then Voice of the Wilderness, Tales on the Road. I went and had all these albums, reviewing them for the webzine. And I was like, all right, and then like every like 6 months, there's another one coming out. And I go and play it. And I'm like, this sounds just like the last one. And then another one would come out. And I'm like, this sounds like the last one. And after a while, I'm kind of like, every one of these albums is like the exact same album. And there's accordion and there's acoustic guitars and mandolin and fiddle and all this stuff, which is all great, but it's all this kind of let's sing around the campfire. We got our beer, we got our flutes and things, and we're all just gonna have a grand old time and sing these silly songs. And I'm like, I don't ever need to hear one of these albums ever again. And I think they've probably released 10 albums since the last one that I ever heard. And I'm just like, do I need to investigate this catalog anymore? No. When I see like Nuclear Blast or whatever label they're on now, because I can't even keep track, sends me a new one, I don't even bother with it because I know I'm going to dislike it. And I know it's just because what else am I going to say about them? It's just, and I know a lot of people who love these guys, but Pete, they're so much fun. It's like it's folky and it's just traditional Finnish ideas and melodies and stories and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. No, I don't get it. That's the whole thing. I get the people who say that. I just personally don't get it. I just don't. To me, it's like it's just so many of these albums are exactly the same. And yeah, it's just not for me. It's not for me. Sorry, folks. So yeah, so I don't think I'm coming down against Finland here because my first two picks were from Finland. I actually do like a lot of bands from Finland. I just don't really care about either of these two. So yeah, here we go. I know Simon likes these guys, so sorry, but alrighty.
Peter hates Finland, everyone.
I'm impressed, Simon. That took at least 10 seconds longer than I thought it would be.
Really hates them. Yeah. Is it my turn?
Yes.
I hate Seattle. Yeah. So, yeah, I've tried and I don't like Heart. I have tried. I've been trying for many years. You see, Stephen, when you said that, yeah, you went through the rankings. I was looking for my fifth one. I thought, oh, I was looking through these. I thought, oh, he's done a Heart ranking. I'm not going to watch it, but I should like Heart. I really should like Heart.
Yeah, I'm amazed you don't like the 80s albums. I figured that'd be right up your alley.
I'd be shocked.
I have particular ire for the 80s albums, to be honest. Alone's great. The vocal on that is amongst the greatest things in the history of mankind. But the rest of it's just so wimpy. And I like my wimpy shit, as you know. But I like 80s Heart about as much as Heart likes 80s Heart.
Well, they hate it, yeah.
I've seen the set list for what they're doing in the UK at the moment. And they're not keen either, are they?
No.
They just rather play endless Led Zeppelin covers, which
they didn't write hardly any of those 80s albums, so it's like
therein lies the point.
They'll play Barracuda, Crazy on You, Magic Man, all that stuff over and over and over again. Yes.
Yeah, and they've been publicized. Yes, they.
I was going to say, please tell me you like Barracuda.
Yes. But it's one of those. I wouldn't turn it off if it came on the radio, but it's one of those things you don't really need to hear again, isn't it?
No,
because they've been publicising their comeback, haven't they, on all the talk shows, and then they've played Barracuda, yay, woo, yay.
I must admit that I've never seen Heart live, and I heard the version that they did on the Howard Stern show a couple of weeks ago. I've got tickets to see Heart live now because I thought the version was that good because Ann Wilson was sitting down and she's an older lady and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, wasn't that sad? They're dragging themselves out for one more go and they've obviously passed it because look at that, she can't even stand up for a couple of songs on the Howard Stern show. And she started singing. I was like, wow, I'm a clown. She's amazing.
They're really good live. I've seen them many times. They're really good live.
By the time that I'd listened to that song, I had tickets.
You'll have a good time. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Really looking forward to it.
Okay, no, I saw it, and I'm not ruined. So, yeah. Just saying. I also don't like whilst I'm at it. I really, really don't like, and this is coming, and you are a right pair of bastards. Aerosmith. Really, really don't like Aerosmith. Again, I should, because there's a groove to their music, isn't there? There's a certain funkiness and a certain swagger. And I actually, I've got Steven Tyler made a country album, didn't they? I've got that on vinyl and don't mind it. Although it was at that point when I realized that I was getting old and was going black, because I can't read a single word of the lyrics or who plays on that particular album. I just don't. Again, I don't like any particular period. But I'm prepared to say that I absolutely loathe and despise "Walk This Way" with Run DMC. Oh God,
I'm with it.
make it
I hate
stop.
it.
I
Make
don't mind that in the slightest. There you go. I
just
don't have
can't
the hatred for
stand
that
it.
either, Aerosmith, that most people do.
Oh, really? Just no, no. Pink is terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. Don't need to hear that ever again. Living on the Edge. No, thanks. Dude looks like a late. No, just ragdoll. Jenny's got a gun. Oh, just big production, big rubbishy hooks, and just can't. I just generally can't stand them, and I don't know why I don't like them, which is odd, don't you think? I should like them. I really, really,
So
really
even
should
the
like.
'70s albums don't connect with you?
You know they don't,
And I
Let's
just
yes, let's
because you
let's
asked
not
me
be
before we
so
started.
here.
No, no, they don't, and and they should. There's that. I like my '70s rock, as you know, and there's something about the Smith that I just can't work with, and I don't know what it is. Um, maybe it's because they are the American Rolling Stones. I don't know. Maybe I've got that in my head, but no, just no. And I realize that I'm going to have to order security for.
I was gonna say Simon went for the jugular today, man. Woo.
Yeah. Well, I believe the title is something along the lines of classic acts we can't stand, isn't it? So I'm going for
There you go.
You have to be fair. If you're going to do it
it.
properly.
None of this relatively obscure Scandinavian shit for your Uncle Simon. He's going for it.
Guilty as charged.
Well, I mean, by the whole reasoning of how I've chosen what I've chosen by going through the album rankings on the channel, there is a pretty strong chance that Pete's going to like all of these acts, such as Rory Gallagher, because I just don't get Rory Gallagher at all. Then there's maybe a bit of a theme developing there, is that I don't really like these kind of bluesy guitarists that played like 10-hour live shows that involve 3 songs. It just does nothing for me at all. I don't like it. I would hate to have been at some of these legendary live shows. Now, Simon loves to Google while I'm talking and go, yeah, but you reviewed one of his greatest hits and gave it 4 out of 5. And the reason for that is because you have to sometimes understand that somebody's a legend. Rory Gallagher is a legend. I can't dispute that. That's not just down to me to say whether he is or whether he isn't. He is. So if somebody says, Stephen, would you like to review a greatest hits by Rory Gallagher? Ask, Pete sends you it. So you review it. There's no point in me going, yeah, that Gallagher guy's a bit shit, isn't he? Because, it's already in stone that he's not. So what you do is you cover what's on the album and say, it's 4 out of 5. And then you think, I'll put that away somewhere and never listen to it ever again. Okay. So yeah, I've given him a 4 out of 5 because Rory Gallagher's best stuff at least deserves that for those that like it. This is one of these acts that I have tried with because I do believe with the kind of background he had and sort of music that he was involved with, I should get this. I've watched live shows on the TV. I have gone and made an effort on YouTube. I have listened to some of his greatest hits. I was sent one to review, and I just don't get it at all. I just find myself loosely repulsed by it. Not because it's awful, but just because it doesn't go anywhere. It does. I'm a simple guy. Give me an hour-long progressive rock album, yeah, but I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it just feels just too wallopy for me, for want of a better turn of phrase, all over the place. But there you are. I think it's a case of it's me, not you, with Rory Gallagher, but there you go.
I think it is with all of these things, isn't it? I appreciate and understand the importance of all these acts that I'm slagging off. They're just not for me.
That is, I think, the key thing here, and people will either get that in the comments or they won't. I'm not actually saying any of these albums or bands are shit. I'm not
No.
saying that. I get that. I'm just saying I don't like them. and that to me is allowed. I to go off that slight
That's
tangent.
why everybody watching needs to not take this stuff personally.
Well,
We
if
are
they do,
admitting that a lot of people like them for probably a very good reason. We just don't connect with these bands. That's all it is. It's nothing against you watching. If you love any of these bands we're talking about today, that's great. You should. We just don't.
yeah. And if people are going to go as far as to call me an idiot, well, they're probably right. So let's not worry. Anyway, my next one is Trapeze, which came up in conversation the other day. And they were one of the first bands that popped into my head when this topic came round because we've been talking about it. I just same again, it's not, to quote Uncle Simon, they're not concise enough for me. I mean, this is another band that I have gone back to over the years thinking, I must have just been in the wrong frame of mind. I just didn't obviously just put the right album on the right day. Because I mean, there's Mel Galley, there's Glenn Hughes, there's Dave Holland, Kex Goran from Magnum was in them at a certain point. Pete Golby, Uriah Heep was in them. Jeff Downes said hello at one point and ran off somewhere else. I mean, there's a whole host of people that have been in this band, some for a length of time, some for a minute and a half, that I think I like stuff that they do. So I must like this band. Not all of these people that I really admire and enjoy the music of can be in a band that I just think, yeah, it's all right. Trapeze to me are, yeah, they're all right. I've had all of the first four albums at certain points. I don't have any of them now. I don't. This is one of these bands I don't necessarily hate it. I don't put it on and think, but it's just I find it really forgettable, and it's all kind of style over substance to me. And you can hear flashes of what some of these guys would go on to do in different acts and various things like that, but not in the kind of style and the standard that it was put forward. And same again, it's one of these bands, and I think that nearly all of the bands that I've mentioned so far, people who love kind of live albums that are maybe a bit more sprawling and a bit looser, and everyone's kind of playing off what each other's doing, I maybe just don't connect with that. And a lot of these bands try and capture that in the studio, and it's not what I'm looking for. And that's Trapeze for me as well.
I'm surprised because I know how much you like the Phenomenon stuff. I'm surprised you don't like the last couple of Trapeze albums where Golby's on vocals, because I find those very short songs, kind of punchy, good melodic hard rock stuff.
I don't mind them so much, but it's funny that even as someone that doesn't particularly like Trapeze, I can kind of recognize that that's not really who they are. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
You know,
So
Medusa and You Are the Music, we're just a band. That's Trapeze.
I almost like those albums by default. I almost listen to them and think, yeah, they're okay, but that's not Trapeze, is it? Because it wasn't really. It was, but it wasn't really.
All right. Well, yeah, you guys are killing me today. That's all right. That's all right. That's what this is all about. All right. So my next band, if I can get this Prezi loaded here, is a band that a lot of people like around the world, especially here in the States. And I admit I was pretty into them early on, but I kind of lost interest fairly quickly. And that is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. Again, maybe not overly SOT worthy, but it's okay. So when they first kind of started to break a little bit here, they had a little slow burn for a couple of years. And remember a lot of people who, they weren't mainstream yet, but people are like, oh, this is really great, kind of like funk rock band, and they're really like for the people, and they're just they're underground and they're cool and whatnot. So I went out and got Freaky Styley. I went out and got Mofo Party Plan. I got Mother's Milk. Mother's Milk was the first album that really started to break them. And I was kind of like, all right, I can dig these guys. They're kind of weird looking. They got this kind of urbanness to them, right? Flea's a really cool bass player. The guitar player's into Hendrix, whatever. Their other guitar player died of a heroin overdose. Like all of a sudden, it's like all this stuff about the band. But then like Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out, and I bought that immediately. I was kind of like, all right, I kind of dug that immediately, first thing. And then all of a sudden they're on MTV like a million times a day. And those big, Higher Ground was probably the biggest single they had before this album came out, and that's a cover. Very good cover, I might add, of Stevie Wonder classic. But then Under the Bridge give it away, give it away, give it away now. And after a while, you're seeing them with the silver paint on them without on the MTV video that was played every half hour, that and Under the Bridge. And I was kind of like, all right, these guys are everywhere. And then then they're dating the act, Anthony Kiedis, who I found to be after a while. I used to think he was kind of cool, totally ridiculous. He goes on award shows. He's not wearing a shirt. He's wearing the pants that are halfway down his leg. He's dating all the hot actresses and whatnot. And it's just like, and I'm like, these guys are everywhere. And it's driving me crazy. And then it got to the point where you couldn't like even turn on the radio here in the States without hearing the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I was kind of like, all right, the wheels are falling off for me really, really quickly here. But then they put out another album that I was stupid enough to go and buy, One Hot Minute, which I bought that. I hated it. And then I had this little stack of Red Hot Chili Peppers albums. And I was like, whoosh, down to the local used record shop, sold all of them, never thought twice about it. And I even remember too, like going to see them live, like right before Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out, and I saw them this probably early 90s. My brother was still going to college, and they were playing at the gymnasium at his university, and I went to go see them there. And I remember thinking like, yeah, I don't know if my time with this band is going to last much longer. And it did not. And it's like now I look at it so early, we're getting ready to do this show. I went and like re-listened to a couple of these albums, and I'm thinking, the warning signs are up when really the only song you like from a catalog is a cover of a Stevie Wonder song, and that's Higher Ground. And I'm thinking, I don't really like any of this shit anymore. And I find that even though I respect the musical talents of these guys, because I think they're all good musicians, I find their music to be like kind of listening back on it, that's kind of fake and a little overbearing. And I don't, and again, they're not, everybody knows them here, but I can't remember when the last time they had an album that even captured the public's attention. It's been quite a while. So, yeah, for me, I got absolutely no use for them. I see them anywhere. I hear of the first couple of notes of any of their big hit songs come on anything that I'm listening to, and I'm like, switch, like if I got Sirius XM on or something like that, no interest whatsoever. So yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers, no thank you. Done with those guys. So that's that one. Let me go find another one here.
I think the interesting thing with Red Hot Chili Peppers for me, they're not a band I like, never been a band I like, but you listen to something like Fight Like a Brave, it's kind of funky and catchy and out there and different. But then you listen to something like Californication, which is one of those songs that you couldn't avoid, and you go from vaguely dangerous to as safe as you could possibly be. It's a very, very odd evolution from that band. Really.
It is. Yeah, it totally is.
So
like I said, I like the funky, the early funky stuff. I think is pretty cool. I think they were doing something different, but it just got really played out for me. And I like now I'm just kind of like, man, I just can't listen to any of it at all. All right, so we're gonna go from the U.S. This I might get a little hate for this, but that's okay. We're gonna go to Germany. Rammstein. Or Rammstein. Sorry, Simon. I've tried with these guys. I know a few people who think that this band is brilliant. And we have our buddy Phil, or he's probably watching this. Our buddy Phil in the UK keeps telling me, Pete, why do you guys never talk about Rammstein on Sea of Tranquility? They're the best band going for the last 20 some odd years. And I'm like, I'll tell you why. Because I think they suck. That's why. I'll go out and say it now. I remember when Mutter, however you say that, came out, and everybody's like, oh, you got to check out this German band. They're great. They're big and heavy, and they're just wild and different. I'm like, I like big and heavy and wild and different. But I find with their music, and that's not the only album I've ever heard, because I've tried them, Ice and Ice, and a few of their other albums, Rosenrot, and a couple other ones. Senshut. I was like, all right, well, I must be missing something here. I find that there's not enough of the big heavy riffs that I want to hear. They have them occasionally, but then they're like big and repetitive, same thing over and over again. I find the industrial, like an electronic elements of this band. I'm not a fan of industrial music at all anyway. I find that really annoying. But the worst thing is I listen to a lot of bands that sing in foreign languages. I don't have an issue with that. I can't stand Lindemann's vocals. I really don't. It's very harsh for me. To me, he sounds like a German military officer just barking out commands and stuff like that. And it just doesn't do anything for me. And I find like I've probably heard half of their catalog. And I find like all of it just after a while sounds the same to me. It's just harsh. It's like repetitive. And I firmly believe that like everybody that I talk to who claims that this band is so great, they instantly start talking about their live show. And I really wonder how many people like actually love their music, or they just love the light show because it's like half naked, sweaty bodies and fire and explosions and all that sort of thing. And I'm just wondering, I mean, even like when you go and like check out and read like interviews from guys in the band, they seem to fully realize that they think like, most people, they don't understand our lyrics. They don't understand what the songs or the album's about. They only care about the live show, and that's what we're known for and stuff. And I just wonder if they didn't have all that stuff, would they be the big draw that they are? Because their albums don't sell a shit ton around the world when you look at them. They're not terrible selling albums, but I think that people just, when they come around, they can pack stadiums because of that show, because of the pyrotechnics and the fire and the explosions and all that kind of stuff. It's like a big like S&M concert live on stage. But to me, I just don't get it, because I don't need fire and explosions and stuff in shows when I go see a concert. I go for the songs, I go for the musicianship, and that's what's important to me. I don't get those songs or any of that memorable stuff out of their music. I just don't. So I know a lot of people love them. I'm going to take a lot of flack for this. I don't care, but I personally have absolutely zero use for Rammstein. I've tried because but they're great. They're great. I don't know. I don't think they're great. Oh, well. I know you guys are fans, so.
Peter
It's interesting
hates Europe.
But
He
I
really
think
does.
I don't. Most of the stuff I listen to are European bands, British and European bands. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's
Just saying, hates Europe.
because I know there's gonna be people like, dumb American. What does he know? It's like, but the most of what I listen to is not music from the States. I mean, that's the damn truth.
I think the observation about the vocals is interesting, because I don't think you could get a better singer for that band, personally. To me, it's one of the reasons that when it really works with them, it
And
really works.
I would agree with you. I say it fits the style of music. I just don't like it. To me, he's got that that really thick accent in here. It's like nails in my back of my head. I just can't get into it. Can't get into it. And I like listening to Italian singers and singers from Scandinavia and all. I have no issue with that. But man, put on a Rammstein album and I got to hear him, and I'm like, turn it the fuck off. I can't get into it. Just can't get into it. I tried, but I totally get you. I think their music and their songs, their albums are very unique. There's nobody like them, but it's not for me. So for everybody watching, if you love it, great. You should love it, because they are different. You're doing something completely different. But you are never, ever, 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 in the words of Chris Jericho, going to convince me that it's something that I have to like or can like, because I know that I just don't like it. Don't like it. Sorry, Phil. There you have it.
I did enjoy and appreciate that wrestling reference. That's very good.
I knew you would, Simon. I knew you would.
Beautiful. You
he hasn't done that in a long time, right? He hasn't done that in many years.
Yes, not you are the champion. Okay. So I didn't realize until after I had made. Did it go zooming over your head, Stephen? Never mind.
All the wrestling stuff does. Yeah.
We could discuss British wrestling, Les Kellett, Big Daddy, all that kind of stuff if you want.
Absolutely, starts. Okay.
Endo Nagasaki, you know it makes sense. But anyhow, I didn't realize until I had made my final choice. And I had the happy joyness of listening to this band this morning while I was pretending to do some work. And I didn't realize that Pete is actually close personal friends with this band. I didn't realize that's how much he loves them. That he goes out and he spends time with them on Facebook and stuff. And I just cannot stand Queensryche.
Oh no, I just saw them last night. Damn
I
you.
know. You mean a few
Ah.
days ago? Yes. Come on, Pete. A few days ago, you just saw them the other day. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I just can't. No.
Right, that's right.
No. Just thank you. Thank you. Just I just don't get it. I really don't get it. They're just a bog standard metal band with a helium voiced singer. You know, admittedly the guitars are okay, but do you know what? I listened to Operation Mindcrime this morning, and it's no Generation 13 by Saga, is it? Let's be brutally honest. You know, if we're concepting it
It's
up, am I
way
right?
better. That's right. It's not no
No,
Generation.
it's really, really isn't. It really isn't. There's just, no, just nothing about Queen. And I've tried. There's nothing about Queensryche that does it for me. Oh, Simon, you've got to listen to Jet City Woman. I have. Yeah, Silent Lucidity. Well, I wish it was silent. You know, that's just, there's just,
No
I
Queen
don't,
of the
I
Right,
get,
no Lady Wore Black, no Take Hold of the Flame. You don't like any of that stuff?
nope. Walk in the Shadows. I dread it. No, it's nothing. No.
Wow.
No, no. And then I found out you were mates with them, and I thought I've really got to include them now.
Todd, Michael, if you guys are watching, I had nothing to do with this. Trust me. Trust me.
I'm sure the new singer's even better though. I'm sure he's great, isn't he? New singer. What? How many years?
10
Quite a
years
few.
ago, yeah, like a decade.
Yeah.
I used to wait too.
No, I can again, you know, I can appreciate. You know, the guitar work is pretty good to be fair, but it just washes over me. There's nothing that grabs me and the next, you know, often you're listening to a record, you think, well, that's good. I'll just go back and put that one on again. I'll just, you know, that's really good. I may even listen to that one in isolation occasionally. Nothing on either the hits album, which I've had a very long time. How long has it been out? This one, many years. Or Mindcrime this morning made me want to go. Oh, I need more, because I don't. They're like the American version of Rammstein. I know that they exist, but that's it. You can wag your head all you want, Stephen.
Think yourself,
Think yourself lucky I didn't go after fish.
Have you heard Rage for Order? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's the one I thought that you would maybe connect with.
Therein lies the beauty of being able to pimp off somebody else's Spotify, doesn't it? That you can listen to absolutely anything in the world. You know what I mean? You know, so you can actually make vaguely informed choices, can't you? No, maybe I could have listened to it 30 odd times, but it didn't. None of it hooked me enough to. There's a covers album, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad though.
That is really fucking
Really
terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Queensryche fan. There's a whole period.
That makes the Ozzy Osbourne cover album look like a work of absolute genius.
Yeah, they're both shite. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah.
No,
so, no, okay.
Wow.
Sorry, Pete. I know they're your mates, but you know.
That's all right. I'll forgive you, Simon.
Thank you. Can I be management now?
No, see, what you need to do is you got to suck up to Pete for that, because something that Pete said earlier was really bang on the money. This man knows what he's talking about, because what he said was, when a band has a song that's a cover version, it's the best thing they've ever done. Oh, that's bad, isn't it? That's why we can all agree that the Black Crowes are garbage. Okay, because so I mean, I'm only quoting from yourself, Pete. So I mean, I'm just picking up these ideas from you. That's exactly what you said. So de facto, you also agree that the Black Crowes are absolute garbage, because their version of Hard to Handle is really good. I'll give them that. That's really good, and that is the really good stuff that they've got in their catalogue. They're a band I really don't like. They feel fake. It feels forced. It's all kind of frilly knickers. I mean, Chris Robinson's just dislikable, so and so. And the whole thing just feels put on. It's an act. They strike me as being the US version of the Choir Boys. They just looked back a couple of decades and went, we're going to sound exactly like that. And they just do nothing else with it. They don't add anything to it. They don't bring anything to it. They just play the same stuff over and over. And for some reason, people play this music, so I have heard a fair bit of this from right across the catalogue, and it just gives me the ick. They're one of those bands that as soon as I hear it, I just think, yeah, you don't mean any of that. None of this is real. It's just there. You just went, you know what? They sounded good, so we'll just do what they did. And that to me is the Black Crowes. I like nothing about them at all.
Wow. Not even because I think their second album is brilliant. Hard to Handle to me is not even close to being their best song.
See, the second album, Pete, I really dislike the second album as well.
Oh, that's the best album in their catalog. Oh,
really? Yeah, and do you know what? I won't disagree with you. I really dislike that album.
Jesus. All righty. Well, I had a feeling that might be coming though, because I know you dropped some hints in the past about the Black Crowes.
Yeah, really don't like them.
I get it. All right. Well, you guys stabbed my heart a couple times today, but that's okay. All right. So for everybody watching, all the prog people, take note. Wake up. Because I'm going to circle back now to a band that I've made fun of on this channel and in the prog seat many times over the years. Steven knows what's coming. They are from France. Magma. I'm sorry, folks. And I have tried. This is one of those bands where many, many years ago, when I was kind of embracing prog, past, present, and future, it's probably in the early 90s. And I was like, I gotta have everything. I gotta digest everything. I gotta get into everything. Magma always came up. Zool, French band, Kobayan language. They created this whole new language. Christian Vander is a drum god. They're epic. They're all this kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So what did silly Pete Pardo do? He went out and bought like every album that they put out in the 70s, like literally within a short span. And I remember like these coming in and putting them in, and we're talking the first album, 1001 Centigrades, Mechanic Destructo Commando, Wurda Uda, Commandos, or Contarcos, whatever the fuck it's called, Udu Wudu Attack, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what is this? What is this nonsensical chanting that's going on? These choirs, this repetitive, like the rhythms, they would just go on a riff for like 10, 15 minutes. And then you'd hear all this. And I'm like, what is this? This is like music from some weird ass science fiction nightmare. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is going to take a little while, right? So I'm talking to people that I know in the prog community, and they're like, oh, Magma, they're amazing. You'll get it. Just keep listening. You'll get it. And I kept listening. And I'm like, and every now and then I play some of these albums and I would hear, oh, that's a cool little passage of keyboards. There's cool little, you get some horns here and there. You got a little bit of guitar on some of the albums, right? And the drumming is great. But what ruins it for me? It's everything else that's in there. All this Kobayan nonsense that's going on. And it's just like, and every time that the chanting and the choirs come in, my head's ready to explode. And I'm like, this is absolutely maddening to my ears. So for like 10 years, I had all these records and I would keep listening to them, and the album covers are great. And it's like, but I'm like, am I enjoying any of this? No. And I would keep saying, but maybe I will. And another 3 years would go by and I'd be still trying to give these albums a chance. And I'm like, I realize people are like not seeing half my face, so I gotta remember that this is up. And at some point I said, the white flag goes up, and I'm like, that's it. My Magma experiment is over. And I remember I went on Progressive Ears. They had like a little marketplace thing on there where you can go and like try and sell your albums and CDs and things like that. And I put all of them up in a lot, and I said, please, someone, please take these off my hands and just give me a little bit of money back so I don't feel terrible about the like probably $200 I spent for this catalog, because these were all import CDs and not cheap. And I'm like, and some poor soul who probably may be watching now, maybe he has all those Magma CDs I sold him. Hopefully he's enjoying them and he didn't do the exact same thing and want to jettison them as soon as he got them and listened. But man, ever since that day, I felt a weight off my shoulders. Like all of a sudden, this band that I worked so hard to like, but ultimately just hated, is out of my life forever. And I will never give Magma another try again. Although I did listen to an album they put out a few years ago because the PR company sent it to me to review. And I remember playing it and I'm like, I hate this just as much as every other album that I used to own. So see, some things never change. Even though like 15 years went by, Magma still sucks for me. And that's all there is to it. So there you go. So for those who love Magma, good for you, because I think they're worthless. So that's my last one for the day. There you go. And you know what? 100,000 people will watch this video over the course of the next year or so. And the comments section will be thousands full telling us how we are all off our rockers for not liking these bands. And that's okay.
I'm just going to say, I think we have suitably offended quite a lot of people. That is
Yes,
not
absolutely. Exactly. But remember,
intention.
folks, don't take it personally. We're not,
What
this
I've
is
said
not
about these
directed
bands,
at
I
you.
mean, but yeah, you can't like everything.
No, you can't. Especially when it's garbage like some of this, right? But hey, whatever. We're joking, folks. We understand that a lot of these bands we talked about today are beloved by many, and that's totally fine. Because I'm sure there's a lot of bands that the three of us love that some of you watching can't stand for whatever reasons you have, and we totally get that.
I'm gonna tally up how many people below go, yeah, but Steven likes Kiss.
Yes, you know that's going to happen. You know that's going to happen, and me too, right? We're all Kiss fans here.
I've got a Kiss T-shirt on.
You see that? Look at that. He's been hiding it very nicely, but yeah, it's there. See?
Oh no! Earlier, I went back and thought, no, I know what's coming. Let's just go like that.
Because there's going to be like, well, there's no accounting for taste because they all like Kiss. But they don't like the Stones or the Who or Magma or because Magma is an intelligent band playing serious music. That Kiss stuff, that's for children. Yep. These are fun. These are like cathartic to do an episode like this every so often, right?
Absolutely. It's good. And the thing is, everybody has bands that are revered.
Everybody
does. I mean, I've got friends, as I've said this before, that will say to me, that Ronnie James Dio guy, he wasn't everything he was cracked up to be, was he? And I'm like, what? That's madness. That's utter madness. But there you go. They're not wrong. They're just not right.
I still can't believe Simon doesn't like Who's Next, but all right. I'm going to have to live with that now. So, oh well. Steven, you want to give everybody a preview of what's happening in 2 weeks today here on the UK?
Yes. I was going to say we're going to do something much more positive, but I don't know if we will or not. Depends who likes what. We're going to do an album war show, something that we haven't really done an awful lot of on this show. We are going to be putting 2 albums that have got a kind of similar journey, or the artist was at a similar stage in their career at this point. One I know well, one I don't, so I'm looking forward to this a lot. We are going to do Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. His kind of massive change of sound and suddenly more mainstream. And we're going to put that against Like a Rock by Bob Seger. A kind of similar period for Mr. Seger's catalogue at that stage as well. So that's what we're going to be doing in 2 weeks' time.
I can guarantee you right now that in the comments section, Bob Seger is going to win in a landslide, because I have found, especially here in the States, that so many former Bruce Springsteen fans have turned on him like in a major way, because they don't like his political statements and opinions. So every time that I do a Bruce Springsteen themed anything, the haters come out like almost as bad as Kiss. So it's like, so whatever. But to me, I don't really give a shit about all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to kind of play these back to back and kind of form opinions on them. So yeah, so that's coming up. Seger versus Springsteen in 2 weeks from today. So tune in and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. We have lots of cool programming coming up here on the UK Connection in the weeks and months to come. We've got a schedule that's pretty long, a lot of fun stuff happening. So yeah, I know, Simon, exactly. So tune in every 2 weeks.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yes. We may eventually tell you what it is, Simon.
Oh, thanks. Bruce who?
Bruce who?
Bruce
who?
Seeger.
Bob who?
Bruce Seeger.
Bruce Seeger?
Got it.
And Bob
Okay.
Springsteen.
Bob
That's right.
Springsteen. There you go. That's right. Born in the Rock, right? Something like
That's
that.
right, yes. And like the
Got it.
USA.
Yes.
I
there you
can
go.
find it.
There you go. So for Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks so much for watching us here. Hope you had fun with this episode, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on the UK Connection. Take care. Tune in tomorrow for ranking the albums. Grant, Arthur, and I are ranking the catalog of Roadmaster. Do not miss it. That's coming right up. So we'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.